Jolly good show, Major.
Things are about to get awkward for at least one team next season. This is Rob English, your Socal Seahawk, coming at you with another edition of Short Yardage. And we are going to cover just a couple of things here. Merry Christmas to everyone. I am going to just talk about a couple things, and then we'll go ahead and call it a night. This will be a relatively short show. But just a few things that actually just a few things I want to touch on. Things are about to get real awkward in at least one city, I believe, coming up for the 2016-17 season. There are 3 teams right now that are all vying for a spot to play in Los Angeles. They all want to leave where they are right now, and they want to go somewhere else. And if you think about what kind of dynamic that creates between an organization and the city that organization is in or plays from or what have you, that can be kind of, I don't know if it's a conflict of interest or what the term I'm looking for is, but it leaves people rubbed the wrong way, to say the least. Right? In any situation, whether it was a team leaving a city or a guy or a person at a regular job looking to leave the company, when you show that you're now ready to move on from where you are to something else, you send a message, even if it's unintentional. You send a message to the people or the place that you're leaving, that you're over it. You're ready to move on. You don't feel that they're necessary in your existence anymore. It's an odd feeling. It's an odd feeling. Now we have 3 football teams that are looking to leave their city. We have the St. Louis Rams, which seem to be, call it the heir apparent, as far as which team is for sure going. It seems that way with, Stan Kroenke being the guy who's willing to pay it all out of pocket. So it almost seems like it goes without saying that they'll go. It seems that way anyway. You also have the Oakland Raiders, who are looking to get out of the Coliseum and go back to LA. And you have the San Diego Chargers, which is a situation that I have had quite a bit of information about, as I live right here in San Diego. As a matter of fact, not only do I live in San Diego, I live literally next door to Qualcomm Stadium, which is a you-know-what. It seemed like it'd be neat, and I go to the Chargers games from time to time. I have a bunch of friends who are, diehard Charger fans, and I go tailgate with them. Usually my routine during the season is I'll go when the Chargers play an afternoon game and the Seahawks are also playing an afternoon game. I'll go in the morning. I'll get up around 9:00 and I'll go over to the stadium with my group, and I'll tailgate with them all morning and eat and drink. And we always do it real big. We always do it themed, and it's a whole lot of fun. And then I'll leave a little bit before, the 1:00 or 1:25 or whatever kickoff time. And I'll either go home or I'll go to my bar that I go to, and watch the Seahawks. So I'll either go home or I'll go to my bar. But living next to the stadium is not the coolest thing in the world. Matter of fact, it's quite inconvenient, especially if you have somewhere to go during football. I don't work Sundays, but on Mondays, if you have somewhere to go on a Monday when the Chargers are playing, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, because people really the traffic starts well before anywhere near close to game time. let's say if they played a Monday night game or a Thursday night game, and you have someplace to go. Where I live, literally the street just outside my condo here is gridlocked. And it's not even the main road. There actually is the entrance into my condo complex actually shares a street that is an entry into the stadium. There's actually a street that is a entry. So that's how, if you get a reference of how close I live to the stadium, the street that I have to turn down just to get to the entry into the parking lot of my condos, of my complex, my condos complex is a parking lot. That same street, if you just continue down just maybe another 250 feet, there's an entry into Qualcomm Stadium's parking lot. It's for it's a separate entry from the main entry, but it's one of their entries. And, you have to have a special pass to go in there, but it's gridlock outside my place. So it's not all it would crack up to be that you might think. But, yes, I have, had straight from the horse's mouth, all of the ins and outs of the San Diego Chargers, process, and they're looking to move to LA. But that's not really what this is all about. What this is all about is there is going to be a seriously awkward situation in one of these three cities. Because there's only for sure one team going and probably only two teams going to LA. There certainly won't be three teams going. You can put that one to rest. There's not going to be three teams moving to the greater LA County or the greater Los Angeles area. It's going to be certainly one, maybe two. Definitely not three. So what that means is there's going to be one team that is the odd man out that has to go crawling back to its city. And I believe that that's going to create quite an awkward situation. Yeah, if the Seahawks, especially I'm a little bit removed just because, from that potential situation because I don't live in Seattle anymore. But even though I don't live in Seattle anymore, I still feel that connection. My Pacific Northwest connection is never lost. If the Seahawks were going to try to leave Seattle and then were just more or less shut out or lost out in the race to get to wherever they were trying to get to, between a race between other teams, then you want to come back? I mean, obviously you never left, but you want us to jump back on board? I look at it in terms of a Charger fan. Like I said, I'm right here in San Diego. Literally, I literally live at Qualcomm Stadium. And I listen to the sports radio. I'm all up in the media down here. And the conversation between, the Spanos family, which is the owners of the San Diego Chargers, and the San Diego, government, it's all about building them a new stadium. Chargers need a new stadium. Even the NFL has stated that the Chargers need a new stadium. They got a Super Bowl back in the 90s. They said that'll never happen again until there's a new stadium built here. And the Spanos are saying, hey, we are not going to stay here unless we get a new stadium built. Now, this conversation has been going on for 13, 14, 15 years, something like that. Quite some time. But now it's down to it. Down to it so much, in fact, that the Chargers, all three of these teams, the Chargers, Raiders, and Rams, all three of these teams played their potential last game in their respective current stadiums. Okay? In week 15. All three of them. The Raiders, and I'm sorry, week week 15, the Rams did, and the Chargers did. The Raiders played their last game on Thursday, which is the first game of this week 16, against the Chargers. Go figure. And all three of the games had an emotional ending. There was a big emotional thing made out of everything on Thursday night. Starting with the first one, the Rams, they had an emotional ending to that game, a big standing ovation, all that stuff. The Chargers just beat up on Miami. They went in there and in the game, the last game ever to be played at Qualcomm, they trounced to the Miami Dolphins, and on the second to last drive or just before the end of the game, I'm not sure when exactly it was, but it was at the tail end of the game. The game was over. They stopped the game, and I don't know if the Chargers called timeout or what, but I was watching the game, and they stopped the game, and they brought in Phillip Rivers, Malcolm Floyd, and Antonio Gates. Three guys that didn't even need to be on the field at that time, but they brought them in, to have them on the field one final time. The announcer, announced it, nice and special. Ladies and gentlemen, stepping onto the field, Phillip Rivers, everybody. And they gave a big standing ovation. They went out there. I think they just took a knee. I don't even know what they did, but remember what they did, but it was emotional. And then after the game, Eric Weddle, went over and he was, getting the interview from one of the local sports affiliate or one of the local news affiliates here. And he was answering the questions to the interviewer, and then the fans were yelling at him, saying whatever they were saying to him, showing him love. And he almost broke down in tears. I mean, it was super emotional, last week. And then on Thursday, Christmas Eve here, the Chargers played against the Raiders, and the Raiders beat the Chargers. So that was the end of that high they had there for about a few days. That was over. The Raiders won their potential last game played in their stadium. And they had Charles Woodson with the interview at the end of the game, and everything was all heartfelt and everything like that. They even dumped the water on Charles Woodson. I say all that to say this. One of these teams is going back next season to their city where they're at right now. I can say, because I live here in San Diego, that most Charger fans are like, fudge the Chargers. If they're going to leave, then forget them. No, they will not be a Los Angeles Charger fan, nor will they be a Los Angeles anything else fan. People in San Diego don't like Los Angeles. They just don't. There's a weird thing. The two cities are barely over an hour away from each other, but there's a thing. There's a thing about between LA and San Diego. No one from San Diego is going to LA to watch anybody. So most, and I'm saying this from my own point of view here, but I would go ventured with all the listening that I've been doing. I would venture to say that most Charger fans, I even might say 75% of Charger fans are saying, no way. No way. Now the Spanos family argues that the market that they're going to be getting, the market that they get from LA down here in San Diego justifies them going to LA, which I think is just hogwash. And they think that the market that will continue to be Charger fans that is currently in San Diego will continue, all the way up to LA. I think that's crazy as well. Now, I don't believe that the Chargers are going to go up there and just become a team that nobody likes. If you put a team in a city, they'll develop a fan base. But it's not going to happen the way the Spanos are saying. So Spanos, they're trying to make money. And the bottom line is that LA, they'll make more money than they say in San Diego, especially if they don't build them a stadium. But yeah, I think it's going to be very, very strange. Imagine coming back. If the Chargers tried to come back to San Diego, I don't know that they would get support for quite some time. I really don't. I really don't know. I've always made fun of Charger fans since I've been in San Diego. I've been here 10 years, a little over 10 years, and I have always thought that Charger fans were the poorest fans in the NFL from, what I've experienced. The Chargers win some games and you see, all the girls running around in their pink, breast cancer awareness Phillip Rivers jerseys and things like that. And then as soon as they lose a few games, it disappears. The Chargers are one of the few teams that I have ever seen that have games that, they don't do blackouts anymore, but when they were still doing blackouts, few teams that I've ever seen that have games blacked out in a season where they make the postseason. That used to blow my mind. It happened more than once where they had blacked out games during a year where they made the postseason. That's crazy. Now, there's plenty of arguments to be made that San Diego is a transplant city. A lot of folks come from a lot of places. It's a big military town. You got the Navy, you got the Marines, you got an Air Force presence here. So, it's understandable to a point, but bottom line is, the fan base here does have its share of real deal diehard fans, and most of them say if the Chargers try to go, then forget them. Now, and I have my reservations on what's going to happen if they come crawling back. I think it's going to be real tough for them to, get their fan base back. At least, in any type of totality, entirety. They might have to, give away tickets. I mean, Dean Spanos, the Spanos family wants to talk about money. It really comes down to them making money. They're going to lose money big time if they have to come crawling back to San Diego. So that's interesting. But enough about that. The Seahawks have some football to play. We've got some guys on the mend. It's looking like everybody is, looking like to me that the people who didn't practice this week should play for the most of them. What's going on with Anthony McCoy? Yet again, Anthony McCoy is signed to the active roster seemingly for no reason at all. When we signed Anthony McCoy a few weeks ago, I was so excited. Because I was ready to see him finally get to play. And then before he even saw the field, he's injured again. He's listed on Seahawks.com with a knee/ankle. So I don't know if it's either one or both. I have to venture that the reason that he, keeps getting cut in the first place is because he can't stay healthy. I think the last time we cut him, not the last time we cut him, but the time before last we cut him, was because he just wasn't healthy enough. Or wasn't healthy often enough, I should say. So Anthony McCoy is doubtful, for Sunday, and, I really like to see him be healthy and contribute in the playoffs. Because I really do like Anthony McCoy, but maybe I'm just fooling myself. Doug Baldwin, Michael Bennett, Russell Okung, and Cam Chancellor all were injured this week. Baldwin and Bennett were full participation. Okay, on Friday. But they're all four of them still listed as questionable. I like to think that if Baldwin and Bennett went full participation on Friday, they probably are going to play. Especially because we're still playing for something. I really hope. I've said in my previous show, I believe you got to play out this game. because we're playing for something right now. If we lock up this 5th spot this week on week 17's game, we can sit. Even though Pete Carroll says it's not what he does, I guarantee you will. If we can lock up number 5 on Sunday, we can rest week 17, because week 17 will be a meaningless game no matter what. If Arizona's still playing for a home field advantage throughout, then hey, let them win. I mean, not let them win, but hey, let's put in our backups and see how they go up against the number ones of Arizona. But we don't want Arizona. Cam Chancellor's already hurt. We don't want to end up like Arizona with the honey badger. So we rest week 17, despite what Pete Carroll says. We're going to finally get to see Todd Gurley. Gurley was injured the first time we played them in week 1 when they beat us. That's been a stone around my neck all season long, that game. If we had won that game, that game had gone the way it was supposed to. If you give us that one extra win, we're still in the conversation for winning the division right now. So that was an unfortunate one. On an unrelated topic, you may remember a few weeks ago, Serena Williams, who I'm a huge fan of, the social medias blew up about Serena Williams winning the Sportsman of the Year award, ESPN Sportsman of the Year award. And I listen to all the talk radios and all that stuff. And I tend to not try to bring race into things. But there's some subjects, some things where you simply can't avoid it because it's so obvious. I won't not bring up race when it's glaringly obvious that is the case. That's what's going on here. When there's a race issue happening, I won't put my blinders on where many people do. If there's any gray area, I try to step around it because it's a sensitive subject. But when it's right in your face, I don't put blinders on. And the people on social media who got on there and asserted that a horse, I don't even remember the horse's name. I think I've put a mental block about it now because I was so just disgusted by it. But they thought the horse that won the Triple Crown should have got Sportsman of the Year, or sports person, or whatever it was called. Either way, man or person. They wanted to give this award to a horse. And that's not even the worst part of it. The social medias with these people with these racial bigoted comments, calling Serena Williams, the ones who disagree go so far as to call Serena Williams, they type in their tweets, Jack Williams. They're calling this woman this amazing, impressive, successful, beautiful, talented woman. Jack? Insinuating, mannish characteristics about her. Disgusting. I saw tweets about just, stupid things about, she's been taking steroids for a decade. That's why she's been doing this and that. And I'm so sick of hearing about this. The racial slurs were out there. It was crazy. Just crazy. Just crazy that this person won the Sportsman of the Year. Not man like a male, man like as in mankind. Sportsman of the Year award. And they were mad that they didn't give it to a horse instead. It would have made more sense to me. I mean, I don't know much about horse racing, but I imagine the same jockey rides the horse each time he races, right? If they had tried to give the Sportsman of the Year award to the jockey that was riding the damn horse to the Triple Crown, that would have made more sense to me. I still wouldn't have agreed, but I would at least been able to stomach that. But to a horse? So it was just announced that the Associated Press just named Serena Williams this year's Athlete of the Year. Female Athlete of the Year. So I'm waiting for someone to say that the award should have gone to somebody's race car instead of Serena Williams because they're so tired of hearing about her and her steroid use. Unbelievable what you hear out there sometimes. Seahawks, Rams, afternoon game, Sunday. I'm seeing probably a 27-17, 27-16 game. I don't think it's going to be in a close game. I do believe that they put some points on the board probably late in the game in some garbage time or something like that. But this will be. I don't believe we go in there. I don't believe they come in and we blow them out like a good old fashioned butt whooping blowout. But I believe the game will be obviously one sided. I mean it'll be one of those games where we beat them a lot worse than the score actually implies. So mark that down. That's going to be it. We're going to cut this one short. This is Rob English, your Socal Seahawk. Thanks for listening. Go Hawks.